Hi, my name is Amanda, and I'm 24. I grew up in Lincoln, Kansas. It's about an hour from here. It's a really small town. Like she said, I went to KU in 2009 to study law, and I graduated in 2014. I have a fiance. His name is Brendan, and we have a kitty named Piper. I'm a graduate student here at Fort Hays, and these are my classmates. And I am wearing pajamas, as you can see. I didn't get the memo that we weren't, so it ended up like that. Okay, so you've learned just a little bit about me and seen some pictures. I have a quick question. Am I disabled? Does anybody, I can't really see you guys, but you can raise your hand if you think I have a disability. Okay, the answer is yes, I do. I sustained a traumatic brain injury in 2010 when Brendan and I were in a car accident. A traumatic brain injury, more commonly called TBI, is just trauma to the brain. It can occur a lot of different ways, like sports or the military, but mine occurred because my brain went really fast to the front of my skull and then really fast to the back, sort of like shaken baby. This caused neurons or little connections to shear away from each other, and this in turn caused bleeding, which was devastating to my daily tasks, like walking and talking. Because of this and my disability, I feel like maybe I'm doing this a little bit differently than the other speakers. I do have note cards. Notes are available for me on the monitors, but I just needed something tangible that I could hold, because I'm really overstimulated right now with the lights and the people and everything, so it was just easier for me to have these in my hand. There is a chance that TED won't post my video because I'm holding note cards, and you don't really watch TED videos where they hold note cards, but it was an accommodation that I really needed, so I just had to be okay with my talk maybe not being posted. I know I was vague when I just gave you information about myself, and I was vague in my biography and everything, but that was deliberate because I didn't want you to know I had a disability. To back up a little, I did go to KU in 2009 to study law. I'm not sure why. Brendan and I were in a car accident the summer after my freshman year. We were coming home from a family gathering at the lake, and we swerved to miss some animals in the road. I was taken by ambulance to Salina, Kansas, and then I was life watched to Wichita. I was in a coma for 3 days, and then I was at Wesley for 7 more. I was transferred to Madonna Rehab in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I stayed there for roughly a month, and then I spent the next year living with my parents. When I decided to go back to KU, I knew I didn't want to be a lawyer anymore. I had a speech therapist at Madonna she was an outpatient. I just had her for 1 day. She was filling in, and she had a brain injury. And she gave me a lot of hope. And to think that my life was beyond Madonna and beyond, there would be a time when I could dress myself and feed myself. So I decided to change my major to speech language hearing. And speaking of changing, here is a picture of how I've changed. When referring to the picture on the left, my mom would always say, "The garage door is open, but nobody is home." That was taken I think the day after I woke up from the coma, and then the picture on the right was taken last spring. I clearly have an invisible disability now. It was never really that visible, but I even look and act most of the time just like everybody else. But that girl on the left will always be inside of me. She will always be a part of who I am. I'm almost never this girl with my hair done and my makeup on. I'm usually struggle busing all day, all the time. But compared to my peers, or compared to my time at Madonna, I would say that when I was in Madonna, I had to learn to walk and talk and feed myself and dress myself. And the support I need now seems small. it's not obvious that I need the support, so I have to advocate really hard for myself. And that is something that I just don't like. It's really hard. It will never not be hard. Speaking up and asking questions in class, and it's a lot of work, and it's hard, and I know we don't like to do it, but it benefits my life in a way that I will never be able to adequately explain to you. Because of my brain injury, I fatigue quickly. That's probably my biggest complaint. I'm not physically tired, my brain is. The amount of visual and sensory and tactile information that we each take in throughout one day, it adds up so quickly for me. Like this, the lights and the sounds and the people and everything, it's just so draining on me. I get overstimulated and overwhelmed pretty quickly, and because of this, it takes me longer to process things, so in turn, doing things takes me a little bit longer than everybody else. I would say, compared to my peers, I think I spend about their time and a half working on school-related things. I really just, I'm in grad school right now, and that's literally all I'm doing is grad school and home and bed. That's pretty much it. It just it's taking everything out of me, but it's worth it. So I have short-term memory, which is why I have these little buddies, and I have word-finding difficulties sometimes, which has made this presentation pretty hard, but I think I've read it enough times that I'm pretty sick of hearing it. I think you guys would be, even though you've never heard it. I compensate for these things now, and the things I do to compensate, like a planner, a whiteboard, my phone, they're second nature to me now, so it doesn't seem like it's a big deal. My disability has changed how I see myself. There is clearly a before me, and there is clearly an after me. I remember the girl I was before, and she was okay. She wasn't that great. I really like my life now and where I'm going, and I bounce back and forth between being okay with my disability and being so mad I can't see straight that this had to happen to me. And until so much was taken from me, everything, I had to learn everything again. I didn't ever realize how much I had, like the fact that I can walk and talk and love myself and love someone else. Let me share a little nugget of information with you. I did not choose this. I did not choose this. I would never choose this for myself, and I think sometimes people forget that. I know I just said that I like the person I am now better than the person I was before, but that doesn't mean that I don't grieve the person I was. Every day, even to this day, it's been almost 5 years, and I still feel like someone died. Because I will always compare myself to that girl, even though I'm nothing like her anymore. And I grieve her so bad because I didn't have a choice in not being her anymore. I do have to remember that something good has come out of it. Clearly I was going to be a lawyer, and then I feel like I found my purpose. I'm standing here talking to you about something that was so tragic and life-altering for me, and I'm doing this because I want to spread this knowledge and awareness for others with invisible disabilities that don't necessarily feel like they can speak up for themselves. So let's think for a moment about other types of invisible disabilities that affect adults and children. ADD, ADHD, chronic illness, mental illness, learning disabilities. That's just the beginning of the list. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 26 million people in America have disabilities. 19 million of those people don't use any kind of assistive device, like a wheelchair or a walker. That means that 19 million people don't necessarily look like they have a disability. It kind of blows your mind. Before I talk any more about myself, I want to talk about something that I asked you earlier in the presentation, or more specifically, the word I used when asking, disabled. That word implies that I am just that, disabled, not able, less than, different from you and different from you. I know I feel less than most of the time, okay, all the time. This society and its endless need to be better than makes me feel less than. I'm getting a master's degree. I had a 4.0 when I applied to this program. I'm working towards helping others with disabilities. Today, I fed and dressed myself, and there was a time not so long ago that I couldn't even do that. But I can't always perform like others. And what's worse is that people don't understand why, because I look normal. This is what's hard at the college level. You get a new professor every semester and a new blank look on their face when you say that you need accommodations. And accommodations are something that I feel really, really passionately about, because I wouldn't be standing here if I didn't have them. These note cards, for an example, these are an accommodation for me that I needed to succeed and to give this speech just like everyone else has today. I know people don't understand, skip something. So there's two types of accommodations that I really want to talk about, fair and equal. Fair accommodations, or equal accommodations, means that everybody gets the same thing. Everybody takes the same road to get to a certain point. They sit in the same room. They take the same test. They take it in the same way. Equal accommodations means that everybody gets what they individually need to succeed. This means, like, somebody might leave the room for the test. Somebody might take the test in a different way. In other words, many roads will get you to the same point. And I, personally, usually take the hilly dirt road every time. I know that people don't understand why I leave the classroom for tests or why somebody takes notes for me. This is why. I am being treated fairly. I am being given accommodations to succeed at the level of my peers. Our society as a whole needs to change the lens through which we see people. We need to stop believing that these people are getting extras, or that they're faking it, or that this is the reason I had a 4.0. I had a 4.0 because I worked so hard, it almost killed me. The Research and Training Center on Independent Living at the University of Kansas developed something called Your Words, Our Image. It's a poster that's part of a larger brochure that gives alternate person-first language, so just language, more respectable language to use when referring to people with disabilities. So I used the word disabled earlier. Was that person first? No. The more respectable way to say that was, do I have a disability? I am a person first. I am more than my disability. My disability doesn't define me. I'm different. I'll be the first to say that. I'm different. You're different. You're different from you. It's beautiful. I mean, imagine if we lived in a world where everything was the same and everybody was the same and liked the same things, and it wouldn't make, I think, for good living. So I just want to share my hope that this has touched you, that sharing my story and really letting you see a part of me that is pretty vulnerable has touched you. I hope that you see the world a little bit differently. I hope those of you with invisible disabilities do not be ashamed of who you are. I will leave you with one of my favorite quotes. Robert Hensel once said, "There is no greater disability in society than the inability to see a person as more." Thank you.